Today we're going to talk about how to actually feel and know that you are aligned to your main purpose on a spiritual level, on a masculine level, and certainly on a motivational level. Now, I've been in some very, very dark times within my life, some very confusing times as well, and I've always tasted the branch of my purpose, and I've always been kind of chasing after the reason why I'm here, the reason why I'm living, and how am I actually going to fulfill that? How am I going to step into the shoes of a great man that I will be? So we're going to tell you this by my own experience, really, and actually just tell you what to look out for. Now, the first thing is, you know if you are on the path to that discovery of your purpose or not. If you are not, this video isn't for you, because I'm not going to be talking directly to you. You need to know that you are at least aiming, or you are trying to discover what your purpose is within life. Now, if you are just working in a job right now and you kind of just went through the motions of autopilot, went through school, kind of got maybe, I don't know, just a job that you know isn't really aligned to your true deep desires and purpose, and that's the only thing you're focused on, and you're not actually thinking on a broader scope of, you know, who can I actually become in the long run, then, like I said, probably not for you, this video. But if you are someone who has been searching for a while, whether that be subconsciously, actively, consciously, anything that it might be that you feel that you have been directing yourself or trying to discover the path towards becoming, I know it's a cliche, but the greatest version of yourself, and the greatness that you will achieve has been in the mirror for a long time, just waiting for you to kind of get there. So if you've had those feelings, then this video is for you. So, what to actually know? So the first thing to know is that if you are directly aiming for that, if you are on the path, you are being guided towards the destination that you are trying to look for. As slow as it may seem, and as material as it may actually feel within your current reality. So the first lesson within all of this is actually just patience. Complete patience. Now, there's so much nuance to the actual details and how you should operate during these states of like patience, of, you know, waiting, because you don't want to sit around and wait. This is not what you want to do at all. You have to understand that you need to put in the actions without putting excess importance on the actual outcome of the events that you're putting in. So for example, for me, it would be to be kind of like, you know, famous, rich, have high status, but it's so much more than that. But I'm just going to keep it, that's so much more than that. But that is just like a part of it. So that's the materialistic part, which is why I kind of mentioned it. So if I was to only think about that and think that's if I don't have that, I'm not the person that I want to be, then that's putting excess importance on something. So that is going to actually make it elude from yourself. The universe is actually going to push that away from you, because you are putting out the vibration that that is not who you are currently. That is not who you are currently, therefore it's not who you will become, because you need to step into the shoes of the new man every time you reach a destination. Now, when you actually do start to operate under the laws of kind of like manifestation, that word has been thrown around so much I don't even like to use it, so I might kind of try and coin my own term when it comes to that, because I have a very specific way of looking at manifestation, and I'd like to kind of put my own branch on that. So what you need to understand is, indirectly or directly, you will be given paths, and sometimes messages, sometimes events that will add up, and you don't see that they add up until you look back on the broader horizon. So the key is to understand that is happening, and to understand the vibration you need to input to get that back, so then you are aware in the moment that you are within the manifestation itself. So for example, for me, I started my journey, my main journey of becoming my own man, I'd like to call it, when I quit my apprenticeship. I quit an apprenticeship in just after the New Year's of 2024. So I just had the Christmas break, and I just knew I could not live with myself, and I had to step up to be a bigger man and actually go towards my path personally, even though it would have upset a lot of people, which it did. My family, I knew it would definitely come under their judgment as the wrong decision, which is why I was about to get on the bus one morning and I just watched it go past me, and I decided I cannot do that again. I cannot sit in that room again. This apprenticeship was an office job, so it was labelled as digital marketing, but I just had no passion to actually put any skills into digitally market this business through Instagram, Facebook. They were all just very stupid women, to be honest, in this office. They were nice people, don't get me wrong, but like when I say they're stupid women, I don't mean that they were, you know, dickheads or anything. They just weren't. They were just, to be honest, if you have 3 women in an office all gossiping about stuff all day, they're not actually there for business, are they? This is what I mean. So I had no passion to actually grow that company. It was nothing that I could have personally developed for them. So I just felt like I was going in every day, looking at a brick wall and getting £1,000 at the end of the month. And it was just horrible for a few months. It was horrible. I've always known that I'm designed for something so great within this life. And just to sit there and just look at a screen and just know that I do not care about anything that's going on here was really shit. So I just decided I cannot get back on that bus. Ever since then, it has been such a long-winded journey. For me, the younger me had so many expectations where I'm going to be making 10 grand a month within, say, 3 months, 4 months, maybe 6 months. Actually, my perception was kind of marked out, I'd say, at the start. So then I began my journey. I started to look into, you know, what are the ways that I can make money. This is when AI was starting to really boom up, and the first person I saw talking about AI agency was J Moss Mentality on Instagram, Jordan Moss. And I watched his YouTube video. It made a lot of sense. I remember I bought my laptop to a cafe in my town, Greg's, and started making a little plan. How am I gonna make money, really? So learn AI skills, sell it to business owners. I'm not gonna get into the depths of that. But I started to create a plan where I wanted to blow up on TikTok educating people about AI. I was so much thicker than I thought I was back then. And I look at the kind of the work that I was putting out from there until a year on from there as well. I only really started to get it kind of half a year ago, really get and understand business like half a year ago, I'd say. Before that I was very stupid, and I was testing the waters really, and it was a very gradual development of my skill set, and I learned a lot. But throughout that journey, and the point is that throughout that journey, it's been a very clear stepping stone to the point that I am in right now. And why I can see that stepping stone, because is the word I'm looking for, because I can see that stepping stone of events, I can now predict the next stepping stone of events due to my current callings and my previous events of reality. So I had things add up to me in the sense, I won't get into specifics, but I learned certain skills, like when it comes to AI and stuff. I worked for a company, well, not really a company, I worked for an Instagram page with like 800,000 followers, using ManyChat, using ChatGPT within their DMs to sell more of their ebook, and I completely failed at that. But while doing that, I unintentionally learned a skill that is now the backbone of a gold mine of a business that I've created. So that was like the thing where it kind of made sense to me. Then I pitched a new kind of frame of idea to someone who I bought a course off of on how to book appointments using Instagram and DMs and VAs, right? VAs meaning virtual assistants. And I replaced the whole need for their system with AI, or I replaced the whole need for the system VAs using AI. And then it made sense to me, okay, that makes sense. I learned that so I could come here. Then he rejected me after like 2 months of agreeing he'd pay me 5 grand. So that was really annoying. Just one of those problems that was thrown in there. And I learned a very big lesson in depending on it, because I put my whole dependence on that deal going through, since he did promise, but you have to be vigilant of these things, you have to be wise. So then I realized I can actually coin and set up my own business using a very similar structure to the way he set up his course using that. And that is still in the place I'm in today. And there's a lot more that comes into it for the future. So this whole story thing that I've been doing and like posting YouTube videos and stuff, that has really coined into the step-by-step process of who I'm going to become. And I've realized that my calling, my main calling, the thing that implores me to go forward is 100% related to the camera, 100%. So I'm starting to put the actionable conscious steps in place to get better at the skill of using a camera. So I'm going to use it to set up an aesthetic Instagram, learning why that's important, what the Instagram should be in terms of a funnel, how it should actually be operated in the best use of success. And Instagram, a lot of people use it incorrectly. I've just come off a live event of Jack Hopkins explaining how to actually use Instagram. He's a killer at it. So I will get into what this actually means on a broader scope and why I'm even like kind of talking about this stuff. I haven't made all of that very clear, but what I will say is that it's more of a feeling unless you delve into the specifics. So I could sit here and really think about the step by step of what has led me to here and why, and that is like the main kind of question. What has led me to here and why? Then the next part of that question is, what does that mean for my future, or what does that likely mean for my future? So the point is that when you are in the path to greatness, when you are on the path to greatness, which you always will be, by the way, this never will stop until you retire. But you're not, if you're like me, you're probably, even if you're like, 70, you'll still be writing books or something about your life. So you're never truly going to retire until you die, and then that's time for the next journey, or a little bit of a rest and then the next journey, I suppose. But you have to understand that you are in the path. If you are choosing to be in the path, you are in the path, and you are going to have the lessons given to you at the right speed if you are putting in. It just depends on how much you're putting in. So a lot of the times you lack, it's also for a purpose as well. You're purposefully, I think, given the energy to go towards the path of failure so you can learn the lessons. If you go like 100% the whole way, like you never really hear of a lot of people like that. You hear of a lot of ups and downs. So yeah, you have to understand where you are within the process of where you want to be and why it's happening. For this, you really do need to develop your relationship with the universe. And when I say universe, what I mean is God, essentially. But I call it the universe because everything is God. So everything around you, including this pencil, including me, including this camera I'm recording on, including the screen, we are all just part of the same mind, holographically projected outward towards ourselves so we can experience ourselves from the perspective of a consciousness in the third dimension. That's the only reason why we exist. To me, it's like so obvious that that is the case now, and I will get into another whole video breaking down my, my theory and reality and stuff. But essentially, you do need to develop a relationship with the universe and actually understand it is speaking to you. It is on your side, is the main thing I'm kind of saying here. Like, the universe is on your side. It's not against you. It's actually working with you to get to the person that you need to be. Because it makes so much sense to me, because if I just set out and achieve my goals in the way I thought I would, make 10 to 20 grand in the first 6 months of me even trying, I would have missed so much wisdom. So much that's going to be necessary for the next 80 years of my life. All of that would have been, it maybe would have been found in a different way. Obviously, I don't know because I haven't lived those paths, but it just wouldn't have been good. Like, this whole process has happened for a reason, and that's why I'm grateful for it. And gratitude is the most important ingredient of this. You have to be grateful for all of the failure, all of the mistakes, and you have to put yourself in a position of heart-brain coherence and subconscious comfort within the journey. So you have to be comfortable, but you also have to be putting in all the actions, all the hard work. It's very useful to systemize your life and actually look at your life as a video game that's being programmed not only by yourself, but something external. So you think, why has this happened? And you start to make sense of it all. You start to actually see that is why this has happened. That's why this is happening, is the most important part for you right now. Because if you know why this is happening right now, you're going to make all the right moves to make it happen faster for you, or to make the result come faster.